Hello everyone. Some days ago I did a video about the martial attack and how white should play against that. And in today's video I will show you how black should play against that. We will see some of the most common replies with white and we will understand the plans for black. So let's start. E4, E5, knight F3, knight C6, bishop B5, A6, and we reach the martial attack in this position with C3. So we strike in the center, take, and C6, protecting the knight. And now usually white can retreat the rook on E1, but the most common move here is D4, so D4, and we start with bishop d6, putting pressure on the h2 pawn. And we want to play in the king side and try to attack with piece sacrifice and stuff like this. So here rook e1, queen h4, putting pressure on h2, and now g3 and queen h3. Okay, and here we will analyze every reply for white. The most common replies are three, that are rook e4, bishop e3, and queen e2. So let's start from bishop e3. On bishop e3, we want to play bishop g4 to put pressure on the queen and also to try to go for a mate. So here the only reply is queen d3, because if there is another move like queen c2 after bishop f3, we are already threatened mate and we win. Unstoppable. So here queen d3, and after queen d3 there are some possible moves, but the one that I want to show you is rook a e8, and is really important, this rook, that we move the rook on the a file, because let's say that we move the other rook. This is the first error that black could do. So here there is bishop knight d2, and he wants to go for c5. So what we want to do is try to go for a mate. But after c5 there is this line with bishop f4, and after take we play rook h6 to go for a mate. But there is queen e4, and after take king f1 and let's say take, he is a threatening mate, and we can we would like to play rook f6, but is mate. So let's go back to the other line. Okay, with the other line we play rook a e8, and after all this sequence with c4, bishop f4, and c pair, and rook here, after queen e4 we can take the bishop, and now we can play rook f6, threatening mate, and he can play f3, but he will lose the rook after the check. We take, well, first we take in the center, and after take we win the rook. So this is the reason why we should move the rook on the a file. And now let's check other replies. Here, what white could do instead of c4 is queen f1. We don't want to trade the queens, so we play queen h5, and here there are some moves like, for example, let's say f3. We can take the bishop, and after take we have rook per e3, so we are winning here. What white should do is queen f2, but is really unlikely that white will go for this move. But still possible. After this one, we just retreat the knight, we will lose the bishop, but the situation is fine for us. There is a lot of pressure in the king side. His king is open, our pieces are active, and we later on we have plans of maybe double up in the file and try also to go for some for some sacrifice on the pawns to exploit white king. So what can we do now? Let's check rook e4. Okay, with the rook e4, the lines are a bit different. Here we play g5. He can take because then he will lose a piece with the rook f5 with queen f5. But what he can do, I covered this line also in the other video. He can move the queen on f1, and after queen h5, we don't want to trade because we already are down a pawn, but we could trade, but it's preferable to not do it. So after queen h5, there is a knight d2 to bring another defender to white king. And here there are some possibilities, but what I prefer the most for more for a black side is f5, straightforward. And here there are the perfect reply for white should be to move the bishop on d1 to chase the queen, and after queen h6, why queen h6 and not quite queen g6? Because we want to be able to support a push on f4. So the queen in the same diagonal is better, and we want to push on f4 because in a lot of situation the h2 pawn then will be a target, and here there is the bishop on d6, the queen on h6 that are pointing directly to the h2 pawn, things that the queen is not doing on g6. So what should white do? Well, rook e1, and after f4, there is a knight e4. We don't want to lose the bishop pair, so retreat with the bishop on c7. And after, let's say, queen bishop d2, we can also play bishop f5, and here the most common reply is knight c5, and after rook here. The engine doesn't like this move, but I think is really hard to for white to defend after this move. There is only one good reply, that is queen e2, and is not even so easy because white in this position. I think that a lot of players with white would think um, to just move the light square bishop, connect the rook, and try to bring all the pieces in the defense. Queen e2 is not so natural, but after queen e2 we can play bishop g6 because queen e2 is made to place the queen on h5. So let's say that we move our rook on f8. There is already queen h5, and we don't want a trade. So first bishop g6, and then after, for example, bishop b3, we can double up on the file, and we have a huge attack, and we are fine. I think is really difficult for white to play in this position. So let's go back a couple of moves, and let's check now queen e2. Okay, queen e2 is made to place the queen on f1, and because white wants to trade the queens, release a bit of pressure, and be happy up a pawn. And is a thing that we should avoid if possible. So let's just move a bishop, and here we are threatening to place our rook on e8. So after after queen f1, we retreat on h5, and let's say after knight d2 to develop. Same ideas in a lot of lines. The ideas are always the same. We can already play queen bishop h3 to chase the queen, and after queen e2, we can sacrifice, well, not sacrifice, but offer a trade that is forced, a trade for one queen for two rooks, and it's fine for us. It's fine because, well, because we are the knight is kind of stuck in this position because the knight has to defend the f3 square, otherwise the queen will infiltrate and deliver checkmate. So the knight is stuck. With the knight here, the bishop can't play. With the bishop here, the rook can play. So even if we gave away two rooks for a queen, we have the bishop pair, and white's king is really vulnerable. So we are fine. And here there is rook e5 or also rook e1. Rook e1, and after rook e1 we can simply play queen f5 and go for h5, h4, and later on maybe also bishop d6, and try to attack the structure around the king to deliver a checkmate or to win some material. So I think that this line, especially this line, is not so easy for white to play. And also the line that I showed you before with the plan of g5, f5, f4 is really hard to defend. If white doesn't know the theory, it's nearly impossible to defend. And in fact, also at a higher level, the martial attack is an opening that it's still valid. What else to say? Just focus on attacking, take in consideration piece sacrifice, and stay always focused on break the pawn structure around the white's king. So this was the video. If you like it, leave a comment or leave a like, and feel free to subscribe if you want to stay updated on more videos.